Now being joined by the heavyweight champion of the world, Ryan Bader. Take our first question here from Sean Sheehan. Your line is live.
Hi, Ryan. Sean Sheehan here from SevereMMA.com. I just want to ask you, obviously, this is the second time yourself and Czech Congo are fighting. How do you reflect on that fight? Obviously, the ending, the way it ended with the no contest, but also the fight itself going forward as we fight again on Saturday night or Friday night even.
Yeah, I just kind of went forward right off the bat. It was kind of doing what I wanted and whatever I wanted. I felt like I was hitting him with everything I threw, pushing him back, and then I got him on the ground there. I tried for the Kimura transition to mount and started throwing from there and ground and pound and until that no contest. But I felt it was going great, So every fight's a new fight though, but look to continue that. If that happens, ends up on the ground, but I feel comfortable wherever it is.
Czech has only fought twice since that last fight, and obviously you fought up and down weights 4 times. Do you think that's a bigger advantage to you or him? And have you seen much changes from him in that time as well?
Yeah, I think that's an advantage for me. We're both veterans and we have a ton of fights and we're always going to have that. And we're always going to have that, go when it's go time. But for me, I've been jumping around. I've been going to light heavyweight, which is hard to do for me. But back at home at heavyweight, I had a tough fight last fight, but it felt amazing. And I've had, I fought in October, I fought in January, I'm fighting in May. And so for me, when the fights are like that, it's a lot easier to get in that routine and keep the momentum going. Because if you don't fight for a while, you kind of can fall back in training. You can kind of get that fire out of your head. And I've been going this last year basically, so I feel ready.
How big was it for you to turn around with that Moldavsky fight? Because, coming from a 51-second knockout, I always look back on the fight between Jose Aldo and Frank Edgar after Aldo had been knocked out in 13 seconds by McGregor. To me, that's one of the best performances of all time because of the mental side of it. You did the exact same thing here, going 5 rounds and winning and dominating that fight. How big was that for you mentally?
Yeah, it was in my my home city too. I had a ton of fans there, the whole arena, and then to lose like that and lose quick, it sucks, but it's MMA. Could happen to any of us, and I'm glad I got a redo, and I'm glad it went well, And Moldavsky is a really tough guy, tough young guy, and one of the better guys in the division, and to go out there and pull through and get that win was huge, I felt great just coming back to heavyweight basically, and I've always bounced back from my losses and not really dwelled on them. Just worked harder, fixed what I needed to fix, and be better.
We've got a lot of questions, so let's keep the one per person here. Starting with Jay, your line is live. All right, moving on to Santiago.
Hi, Ryan. Greetings from Amsterdam. Thank you for the time. You fought in Sweden and Germany, but not yet in France. What was your first reaction when you heard that this fight was going to be in Congo's backyard?
I was excited. I haven't fought overseas in a while. I've fought all over. I fought in Australia, Japan, and like you mentioned, those 3. And so to fight in France, I was all over it, and I have fought twice the last 2 fights in my hometown. I don't think it's always, the best thing. It's fun because I've never fought in front of the hometown crowd, but there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, and so I'd rather be the guy coming into another guy's hometown, and bringing an upset in that way. I've done it my whole career, from going down to Brazil to going to Japan, all that kind of stuff. So I embrace it. I love traveling to fight. I haven't done it in a while, and I always do well in these type of fights.
Al?
Ryan, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Shout out from all the way from South Africa. I just wanted to go through a few. First one for me, Ryan. talk about high-profile rematches against big opponents. What would you say are the pros and cons of rematches? Obviously, the one with Congo went a bit astray, but you still got a bit of time, a couple of reads. So what would you say are the pros and cons of these kind of high-profile rematches?
Yeah, I've had 3 rematches in my career, and I've won all 3 of those. I didn't really have a choice on this one. You know, it was kind of given to me right after the last fight. They said, you know, Congo came in and said, hey, you're fighting Congo in France, which, you know, I was all for it. I like rematches because you never know how a strong, fast a guy is until you get in there with him, and you can game plan from there, knowing kind of, you know, his body type, how strong he is, how he reacts. You know, if you have to put 2, 3, 4 different things together, you know, and so for me, I like them, and like I said, I've been undefeated in rematches, and so hope to keep that streak rolling.
Dylan?
What's up, Ryan? It's Dylan Rush back home in Arizona. After that controversial nose poke in your last bout, would you say you have more animosity towards Congo than you typically do for an average opponent?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it was the animosity really came from, you know, with, you know, him and his team calling me a dirty fighter and whatnot, like I did it on purpose, you know. And he said, I think he said he had me where he wanted me. You know, it was just a matter of time. You know, so for me, it's yeah, there's definitely more animosity, but at the same time, I'm gonna go and do my job like I always do, and that's it. You know, just want to get in there, have a clean win, decisive win, and be done with that whole chapter of Congo.
Other Dylan Falker?
How's it going, Ryan? Appreciate you making the time.
For sure.
I'm just curious. I noticed on the Instagram there you were getting in work with Antonio Branjau, and it seemed like you were trying to replicate the height and reach of Congo there. Like, who else are you working with in your camp to mirror the, I guess, physical frame and maybe even the stylistic tells of Congo?
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much him on this camp. We brought him in exclusively to work with us. He's always in shape. He's a good fighter. He's a good striker. You know, really good on the ground. He's long. You know, he's strong. And so I brought him in for the last fight also. And it's good to see that, you know, that length. And you take a couple it takes a couple weeks to get used to that. But then, you know, dealing with that big body, that tall body, you know, it'll feel, you know, like home when I'm in there against Congo, who has a similar body. And so working with him has been amazing. He's always in shape to go 5 rounds hard and pushes me, and it's been great having him.
All right, we'll take one from Mills.
Hey, how's it going, Ryan? This is MMA Locker Room, part of Puff Sports Radio.
What's going on?
Man, I've been following your career ever since Ultimate Fighter, man. I actually remember one of the UFC events, you were walking through the crowd. You actually made your way to actually take pictures with all the fans and everything like that, man. You're one of the people's people out here, man.
I appreciate that.
So looking back, my bad. So looking back at it, man, can you remember if there was one fight or one fighter that you had that just changed your life for the better or for the worse?
If we're kind of talking about like fights that I kind of remember, I want to say there's like a fighter that really has, you know, changed my life. I don't know if you're meaning by like advice or whatnot, but my 3 favorite fights, one would be, you know, I fought Keith Jardine after he just beat Chuck Liddell. It was my first big name fight, and fighting down in Australia, and I go out there and end up knocking him out, and I just didn't know, you know, where I belonged, you know. And another one was fighting Rampage Jackson in Japan, in Tokyo. You know, it was a huge name and all that. And then probably my favorite one was beating Fedor, you know, in the heavyweight Grand Prix in Bellator here, and becoming double champion, the heavyweight champion. And that kind of basically, you know, filled me in that everything I was doing, you know, was the right thing throughout my life, you know, being an athlete and striving to be the best. And it was just a special night.
We'll go to Josh.
Ron, I'd just like your thoughts on the crossover we're really seeing from MMA and boxing at the moment. Do you think it's a positive thing for the sport, and can you ever see yourself getting in the boxing ring?
You know, I like all the different opportunities. Honestly, the more stuff out there for the fighters, the better. I've always felt. If a fighter can go make money somewhere, even if it's these, one-off deals where they get a big payday and they can box or whatever it is. And yeah, I'm always open to different things. I always said I would like to have at least one boxing match, and it's got to be got to make sense though. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, even if these things kind of pop up and fade away, it's good to have options for these fighters or even guys that kind of want to, hey, I want to jump out of retirement and fight this one fight, and I need that fire again and this competition. So I think it's all good.
Mike?
Hey, Ryan, just got 2 questions here for you. And the first one being, what challenges you at this stage of your career? You've almost done it all. You fought everywhere. You just talked about some of your favorite fights throughout your career. You want to close this chapter. What keeps you going, and where would you kind of assess where you're at this stage in your career?
The guy at the end of the contract, as far as when you're signing that contract, there's a guy trying to kick your ass. And I still love to compete, and this is what I'm good at basically. And that's where I can compete, I was sick of wrestling. And I thought I was done, way back when, but I had that fire to keep on going and compete, and I still do, and I can train how I need to train. So just signed a new 4-fight deal with Bellator, and looking to stay at heavyweight. And obviously this is a career, so financials is a motivation. But competing and still trying to be the best and pushing myself is also there. I'm not out here to, okay, I'm just going to be a mediocre guy and take these fights and make money and whatnot. If I'm going to do it, I'm still going to try to be the best at it. And so, that's where my mind state or mind frame is right now.
My second question, also congrats on the new deal. You're in the 2 divisions that a lot of talk between your previous promotion and Bellator, and we just saw recently Bellator sending over a fighter to Eagle FC. Obviously, that brings up co-promotion. You just kind of talked about the boxing crossovers, but would you like to see more promotions get into it? Because in the 2 weight classes that you're a part of and that you've been a part of, it's always been your previous home and your current home going back and forth. Who's got the better of the 2 among those weight classes? Would you like to see these co-promotion fights?
It'd be fun, like here and there. But I think we talk about it a lot, but it's never really going to happen between the UFC and Bellator, I don't think, not for a while. And so it's kind of a fantasy, but I mean, I would love to, I was saying earlier, I love these different opportunities for fighters. That would be a big opportunity for somebody, so anything that's different, it's good by me as far as, we're doing these Grand Prix, if a guy in MMA can go make some money boxing, if we can do cross promotion and get, more eyeballs on the sport and have opportunities for these fighters. I think that's great for everybody.
Jay?
Hey, thanks very much. Sorry for the technical difficulties earlier, but you mentioned your 4-fight deal there, and I'm curious, at this point in your career, do you see this as potentially your last contract, or could this be a case where, like Czech Congo, we see you at 46 still fighting? I don't think I'm going to be a 46-year-old fighting. I have other stuff I want to do, but when we talked about this contract, I don't see myself going down to light heavyweight anymore. That's one thing that was kind of like, I don't know if I want to put myself through that, that weight cut, and I just don't feel great. So for me right now, it's like, all right, we're going to finish out this deal here and kind of see where we go from there. That could be a 2-year deal, so I'll be a little over 40 at that point. And, if I still have that belt and say, hey, I want to get 1 more, 2 more, something like that, or if whatever it is, it's something I'll cross that line, but I can still train the way I need to train right now to be successful. And I still want it. I still, have that fire burning. And so I'm not going to leave that on the table. I'm still going after it, and I can do it. And obviously I'm, heavyweight champ, and I'm striving to continue that throughout these 4 fights. If you could rate the so-called storybook ending to the career of Ryan Bader, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to beat, like I was talking about earlier, you know, winning that heavyweight championship, you know, with beating Fedor, knockout, you know, and was a perfect storm, becoming a 2-division champion, you know, and you know, I'll always look back at that, and that'll be kind of like that highlight deal. For me, it's like I said, I've had 40-something fights in here. It's making money, it's competing, still trying to be my best. And for me, you know, run these 4 fights out and you know, either retire champion or, you know, maybe take 1 or 2 more, you know, and then who knows, you know, and like I said, I'll be always open to different opportunities if they arise.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you.